Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. I'm talking with Steve Grossman, a Democrat running for governor of Massachusetts. We are focused on politics with the upcoming primary election on September 9th. Among the races that will have a contested primary is the governor's race. There are 2 Republicans and 3 Democrats on the primary ballot. The primary will determine which of them will appear on the general election ballot in November. Steve, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me. I'm delighted.
Let's start with your background. Some voters may be familiar with you because of your role as treasurer of the Commonwealth since 2010.
Well, I'm a small business owner, basically. I've spent the last 35 years before I was elected state treasurer in 2010 running a fourth-generation family business started by my grandfather 104 years ago, and now my 2 sons run the business. So I fundamentally, if you ask me to summarize who I am and what I am in a phrase, I've been a proven jobs creator most of my life. I ran for state treasurer in 2010 because the economy was collapsing around us. I thought I could help, made a series of promises in that campaign. I believe I've kept those promises. I live during the year in Newton, and Barbara and I have had a home in Centerville on Cape Cod for more than 30 years. Our sons now have a home across the street, so we have a little family compound that we love. We go kayaking on the Bumps River, into the Centerville River, out into the ocean on every weekend that we can, although this has been a little bit of a lost summer for kayaking. I've been campaigning most of the time. So I've developed a love for and a fundamental commitment to the Cape and to the special challenges that the Cape faces economically in terms of its revitalization, in terms of building 21st century businesses and 12-month businesses. Barbara and I have 3 sons, David, Ben, and Josh. The 2 older boys run the family business. Josh is in consulting. We have 5 grandchildren who adore the Cape and will go to Craigville Beach as often as they can. And because I'm a guy who loves ice cream, I've had a chance to explore virtually every homemade ice cream place on Cape Cod. I'm always sad to see them close after Labor Day or in October because ice cream, I've never met anybody other than people who are lactose intolerant who don't have a smile on their face when they're eating ice cream.
So a big local connection for you. Now, as a Democrat running for governor, can you talk about your political philosophy and why you decided to get into the governor's race?
Well, again, I think one of our biggest challenges is how do we invest in high-quality public education that closes the skills gap and leaves no child behind? How do we bring the interests of the business community together with educators? I'm a huge believer, and I've said this during the campaign, in universal pre-K education. How is it that 25,000 children woke up this morning and have no place to go to learn? Because when you're not learning how to read by the end of the 3rd grade and you fall behind, you may never catch up. And I think that's an educational imperative, an economic imperative, and a moral imperative. And I link that all up to my economic plan. Again, as the only proven jobs creator in this field, I see the Cape having some distinct challenges. And one of the biggest challenges is how do we create more 12-month-a-year jobs? I'm a big believer in tourism and in the arts. My wife, Barbara, is vice chair of the Mass Cultural Council. And so that I think that the arts need to play an ever greater role in our lives. In fact, every time I hear people talk about STEM education, science, technology, engineering, and math, I say, no, the acronym should be STEAM, science, technology, engineering, the arts, and math. And that was obvious to me the other day when I was over at the new Monomoy School. I chair the Mass School Building Authority. We build and renovate all the public schools in Massachusetts. And because of the work that we did with Harwich and Chatham, because of the regionalization that took place, we were able to build a magnificent new high school, which we dedicated recently to teach the next generation of kids from those 2 communities, significant investment in the arts, and an opportunity really to regionalize. And the people of the community saved millions of dollars because of regionalization and because of the model school and the green school they built. So a lot of key commitments that I have made to job creation linked to educational investment. And if you link together high-quality public education, freezing fees and tuitions at our public colleges and universities, and if you imagine Cape Cod with an ever greater educational presence, and I think the arrival of Bridgewater State University in Yarmouth is a game changer for the Cape Cod, because now you've got 4 C's, not the ice cream shop, but the community college, and you can link that up to 4-year degrees, and you can link that up to UMass Dartmouth and others around the southeastern region and the Cape. That creates the kind of educational leadership that I think will keep many more of our young people living, working, playing, and staying on the Cape long term. I'm vitally concerned about how many young people have left the Cape, and it's a 12-month-a-year clean economy, life sciences, innovation economy jobs that I believe can keep our young people on the Cape and power a revitalized economy for Cape Cod and the islands long term.
I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal. We're focused on politics with the upcoming primary election on September 9th. I'm talking with Steve Grossman, who is running for governor in the Democratic primary. Now, on the Cape and Islands, we have issues with nitrogen from wastewater polluting our estuaries. We'll likely need help from state and federal sources to deal with the problem. As governor, if you were elected, how would you help?
Well, again, it's not just how I would help, it's what I've done so far. In addition to my responsibilities as state treasurer overseeing pension funds and our retirement system, the lottery, bonding and borrowing, and the school building authority, I also am the chairman of the Mass Clean Water Trust. And because nitrogen loading is such a huge problem, and I saw it firsthand way back in 2002 when I ran for governor the first time, I went out into an embayment on a boat with some scientists. We pulled up a sample of what was down at the bottom, and they showed me what had happened. And they said, Steve, if we don't deal with this issue long term, it's going to destroy fishing, scalloping, property values, and our economy, and we need to deal with it. So as treasurer, I've overseen the awarding of a grant of roughly $3.5 million to the Cape Cod Commission. They're currently studying this issue carefully, working with us to spend the money wisely. I believe a plan will be developed that we can all buy into. It will require the federal government putting significant dollars to work in addition to the state. But as governor, I'm committed to dealing with and beginning to really attack this problem of nitrogen loading, because the septic systems that we have on the Cape are going to harm us long term if we don't deal with it. It's a multi-billion-dollar problem. I don't suggest it's going away overnight. But as treasurer, I've dealt with it. As governor, I will deal with it, because the environmental quality of life on Cape Cod is one of the most important assets the Cape has, and that's why this issue is so important to me and to all the people, not only at the Cape, but all the people of the Commonwealth. So many people love the Cape. They come to the Cape on day trips. They have summer homes in the Cape. But we need to fundamentally recognize that if we don't deal with this nitrogen loading issue quickly, aggressively, and get the federal government involved, it will hurt us long term, and that's not acceptable to me.
Now, in the last minute and a half we have or so, what distinguishes you from the other Democratic candidates in this race?
Again, I think the principal challenge we face is high-quality job creation and economic opportunity broadly and widely shared. When I won the endorsement of the Massachusetts Democratic Party at the convention, I said my vision is to create one Commonwealth that levels the playing field and leaves no one behind. And there is no region of the Cape that cries out for job creation and innovative economic development that creates 12-month-a-year jobs. Clean energy, because of Deval Patrick's leadership, has created 80,000 jobs in 5,500 companies. Why shouldn't the Cape take its natural advantages, marine technology, life sciences, clean energy, and clean manufacturing, advanced in precision manufacturing, train our young people in our 2 Voc Tech schools in Bourne and in Harwich to be the winners of a 21st century economy? And if we can do that and create a tax base and create a population that's more broadly distributed, we can make the Cape into an engine of economic growth that serves the Cape long term. That in service to older adults who need a quality of life and who deserve a governor who's going to take the position of Secretary of Elder Affairs and make it for the first time in a long time into a full cabinet position, so the concerns of older adults are always directly referred to me by my secretary. That, to me, is a series of commitments that I will make to the people of the Cape, and I will honor if I'm privileged to be our next governor.
Well, we've covered a wide range of issues in a short period of time, but unfortunately we are now out of time. Steve, thank you so much for your time.
Well, thank you so much, and all I would ask is that your listeners take a look and consider casting a vote for Steve Grossman in the Democratic primary for governor on September 9th. And thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I'm Laura Reckford, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.